Well, hello everyone and welcome to another episode here on the MIgardener channel. So I am in my greenhouse, finally. I am very excited for that, and I was going to bring you all along for it, but it was very difficult because it was so windy and so cold. So we literally just threw it up and ran back inside. So it was not a whole lot of messing around. But it is warmer now. Spring is definitely on the way. I think tonight is like the last night that it's supposed to be below freezing. After that, it's like amazing weather. So very excited about that. I should have some stuff in the greenhouse, well, more stuff in the greenhouse because I clearly have some, but I should have some more stuff in the greenhouse next week. I just want to make sure that it's out of the way because I have some lettuce, some kale, some Swiss chard, and stuff that wants to come out, and so it's gonna be on its way out. But I want to just make sure that we're out of that whole freeze zone there. Frost is okay because it typically is insulated to about 3 to 5 degrees warmer. Not very much insulation, but it is good. So as long as the nights don't drop below about 28 degrees, we're fine in here. So that's all I have to worry about as far as that goes. And then I should have some stuff outside as well before too long. I want to do some radishes and some spinach, and then obviously the kale and stuff can go out before too long as well because that's very cold hardy. So we are going to have some stuff cranking pretty soon here on the MIgardener channel. So please be patient, but I do have some stuff for you here right now that we're going to be working on. I have some onions, and onions are really cold hardy. They are great, so I moved them out here because they were getting pretty tall, and so I need to transplant them. So hopefully you can stick around for this. I'm going to be transplanting up some onions for you. I was going to show you the mix that I'm using really quick. It's really nothing too special, just because all the stuff is frozen at the garden center still. They left it outside, and it's still as hard as a brick. So I was just working with what I had in my garage from last year, and that just so happened to be a bag of composted peat moss, or it's composted sphagnum peat moss, and some composted horse manure or cow manure. It's cow manure, and then I got this big bag here, this big bag of perlite, and I'm really excited that our garden center finally started carrying it, because for the longest time they would never carry it, and somehow they got it. And I don't know who got the clue working there, but they got it. And I'm really excited because it was only $19.99 for that huge bag. Yep, this huge 1 cubic yard bag for $19.99, and you can get the same thing for vermiculite as well. So I'm definitely gonna be going back when we start mega planting because I'm gonna be using this up quite quickly. So all right. I just basically did a 1-to-1 ratio in this bucket here. I'm not doing too much planting. Normally I would use a wheelbarrow, but since I'm not really doing a whole ton of planting, I can afford to just do it in a bucket. So that looks pretty good for onions. If I don't say so myself, I think that's about as good as I'm gonna get. But onions need pretty loose soil, just because they're a root, and as I talk about all the time, when you have a root vegetable, you can have all the nutrients in the world, but if your soil is not loose, you're gonna have a hard time. All right, so coming in close here really quick and check out what I got going on with these onions. I definitely need to replant them, but one thing that I'm gonna do is I'm going to take these basically 2-inch by 2-inch squares here, and I'm going to move the onions that are too big for the 2-inch by 2-inch into one of these 3 or 4-inch square pots here, and that's going to allow me to take some of my smaller onions that are still in the house in a plastic cup that really need to get out, and I'm going to move them into the empty squares here. So it's just a way of kind of upgrading what needs to be upgraded and leaving what doesn't really need to be upgraded yet, because I'm trying to conserve space, because before you know it, this thing's going to be so filled with plants that I really have to start doing that, because it seems like I don't have anything right now. But like I said, in about 2 weeks, we're gonna get tomatoes in here, we're gonna get peppers in here, we're gonna bring a kerosene heater back so we can heat this thing, and we got the onions and the kale and the lettuce, and oh my, it's gonna be loaded with stuff. So definitely have to start conserving space now before it's a little bit too late. All right, so some of these are not gonna need to be transplanted, obviously, like I said, but you have some like this one that once you take them out, you can see that they were starting to get pretty root bound. They got a beautiful root system. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this one I'm going to take my square pot here. Now you see there's an open cell there. I'm just going to leave that open for now until I have a new plant to fill it, which I'll do later. I'm just going to stick this right on top. What I want to do is never bury this part of the stem, because the neck of the onion is what creates the bulb. And so as long as the roots are below soil line, that's fine. But anything more than that, it's going to compress the bulb, and I'm not going to have as big of bulbs, because I'm hoping that these onions are going to get between 3 and 5 pounds. Hopefully even more. I mean, I'd be happy with a 3-pound onion. Trust me, that'd be great. And there you go. So you have this. It really should have some staking, but these are my smaller of the giant onions. I do have some indoors, but I'm leaving them indoors for a little longer because, you know, the weather is unpredictable. I don't know, you know, how it would handle. I just don't want to stress it out too much, because I have some giant ones indoors that are really going to, they're really going to be impressive. So just stay tuned for those. If you want to see how I made my supports, I don't have them with me, but I do have pictures on our Pinterest page, and I also have them on Facebook. So check them out if you're interested. It was really simple, actually. I just took a popsicle stick and a piece of cardboard tubing. It could be even a gift wrap tubing, but anything that's pretty thick that has some rigidity to it. I cut them in rings, and then I simply just took some wood glue, stuck the popsicle stick like that, and so then I could stick the popsicle stick in the soil, and the ring could stand around the base of the onion to hold them up. And that's really what they do need, because these are still a little floppy, but like I said, they're not my giant onions. They're simply a big variety of onions, so they're not, you know, they're not really getting as special treatment as they should be getting. But I'll be making some more soon, and I'll stake them all up, because, I mean, why waste the seed? Because there's still a chance they could get pretty big. But some of these ones I will definitely be kicking out here. Like this one, look how poopy that one is. That is just a poor onion. So yeah, I'm going to be getting some of these out here, because you know, you don't ever know how big they're going to get, because I transplanted them all and some just stopped growing. So like this one, it's going to get the boot. I'm going to rip that one out today. And like this one, that's going to get the boot. That's just pathetic, especially for being giant seed. That's just you know, not good. But of course it does happen. You don't always get giant seeds on everything that you plant. But these ones are looking great. These are the Elsa Craig onions right here. And Elsa Craigs are known for their really large onions. Kelsays hold the world record for largest onion. I do have some Kelsays. I do have in the indoors, I have my world record Kelsay onions that I ordered online from a world record grower. So I am expecting some big onions, but these are looking great as is. So I'm pretty proud of these. And the last tip that I'll give you all when I'm transplanting my onions is when I put soil into a new size pot, or if I'm transplanting them, you want to pack them down, but make sure not to pack them down too hard, because again, even if you have loose soil, you can still pack it down too hard around the base of the plant, and it can choke it off and prevent it from getting a larger onion. Because just because the roots are below the soil line does not mean that part of the bulb won't form below the soil line either. So typically what you have is an onion that forms, you know, about 2/3 above the soil and about 1/3 below the soil. So you don't want to just press these down really hard. Just simply take them and gently press, just so the water will go, you know, into the soil without flooding all over the place, and also just so you can eliminate some air pockets that are obviously bad for the roots. And the last thing I'm going to mention while I finish up here is that a lot of people are going to probably ask about onion sets. Look, do you do onion sets? And my answer to that is no, I don't do onion sets. I typically will, if I don't have any other alternative, I will do onion sets, because they are better than nothing. But in my opinion, they're a bit of a scam, because onions are biannual. And biannual means they don't flower the first year, they flower the second year. There's a lot of things like that, but bulbs being one of them. And so when you grow out an onion, a lot of companies will take the reject onions and they'll say, okay, we can sell these as an onion set. Or some companies will grow them the year prior, throw them in storage, and then sell them as an onion set. But one problem with that is if the company does not start them that year and keep them as an active growing bulb, it's going to consider that as a dormancy period. And then when you plant it out in the garden, it's actually going to flower. And then it forms what's called a scape. And a scape is basically a flower stalk, and it flowers. And that means that the onion, even though it might bulb up and get big, the onion is going to flower, which is okay if you're going to store seeds or save seeds. But if you're looking to actually have a harvest, you can't store those onions for very long because the scape will ruin the inside of the onion. So again, it's a kind of a hard situation to be in, because I want to say, yeah, it's a great way to grow your onions, but really it's not, though, and I'd be lying to you. So I prefer to use seeds, and that's just my honest opinion, because it's easier, you get a lot more bang for your buck. And although if you do find a company that sells the onions that are still a little, like a tiny little bulb, a lot like these are, but the tops might be a little bit wilted or whatever, those are what you want to look for. Those are ones that were started this year and they're being sold this year. They have not gone into a dormancy period. So all you have to do is just simply take out, they'll come in kind of a bunch and they'll look like green onions that you get at the grocery store. Simply take them out and just snip off the tops, and as soon as you put them in some fresh soil with some water, they're going to perk up great, they're going to put out new leaves, and they're going to do fine. Onions are literally one of the most resilient things in the garden. I honestly have never been able to kill an onion because they simply, I don't know what it is, they simply want to grow. So if you see those in the store and they look kind of bad, those are actually the good ones. Don't go for the ones that are already dormant and dried and they kind of look like, they kind of look like that by that. Just a very miniature size onion, kind of oblong shape. Don't get those. Just avoid them. Alright, well, I think that's just about it here. I'm going to finish up some of these onions and run inside and grab some dinner. So, take care. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later. This is MIgardener reminding you to grow big or go home. See ya. Bye.